Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's talk about one of the biggest puzzles in tech right now. We've got these amazing, powerful AIs, but ask them why they did something, and you get nothing. Just silence. So today, we're going to dig into a really cool new idea, a framework that could finally give AI a way to explain itself. I mean, this is the question, right? It's what everyone is asking, from the top engineers to you and me. Your AI recommends a weird movie. Okay, but what if it denies your loan application or makes a critical move in a self-driving car? You want to know why. And right now, we just can't get an answer. The AI literally can't tell us. And that's a huge, huge gap.
And look, this isn't just some casual complaint. We're talking about a major challenge that folks at the highest levels, like at DARPA, are focused on. This quote from Dr. Corvée hits the nail on the head. Today's AI systems lack introspection. They just can't look inside themselves and tell you the step-by-step logic. And that is the core problem we're going to unpack.
Right. So this whole issue has a name you've probably heard before, the black box problem. And honestly, it's why trusting an AI can feel, well, like a total leap of faith, especially when it really matters. This table here really lays it out. Think about it. If you make a decision, you can probably explain your reasoning, right? You can give me the why that led to the what. But a standard AI, it's working with just math, a massive web of statistical correlations. So it spits out an answer, the what, but the process, the why, is totally hidden inside that black box. Okay, so how do we crack this thing open? This is where the paper we're looking at gets really clever. It proposes a pretty wild idea. What if we could give an AI a diary, or, a captain's log for all you sci-fi fans, something to actually record its own thoughts as they're happening? And that's where this concept SentioDiff comes in. The name's kind of cool, right? Sentio is Latin for to perceive, and diff is short for difference, which we'll get to in a sec. The best way to think about it is like a live debug log, but for the AI's mind. It's a whole framework designed to let an AI keep a super detailed journal of everything going on inside its head, what it believes, what it's trying to do, what it sees, all as it changes from one moment to the next. Now, an idea this big doesn't just pop out of thin air. It's actually inspired by something called vector diff. That was a tool built to handle changing visuals really efficiently, like in a complex science animation. SentioDiff basically takes that brilliant core idea, tracking only the changes over time, and points it inward, applying it to the AI's own internal cognitive world. Super smart. So you're probably wondering, how on earth does an AI write a diary? Like, what are the actual mechanics here? Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts of how SentioDiff is supposed to work. It really boils down to three main pieces. First up is the self-model. You can think of this as the AI's structured self-portrait. It's a snapshot of everything that's on its mind. Then, and this part is absolutely crucial, you have semantic typing. This means every little piece of data gets a label that actually means something to us. Like, this is a belief, that's a goal, this came from a perception. It turns a jumble of data into something readable. And finally, the diff timeline. This is the secret sauce that makes the whole thing practical. And this timeline shows you exactly why that diff part is so clever. Instead of recording the AI's entire massive internal state every single second, which would be a ton of data, it only logs what changes. See here? At the start, it's just idle. Then, boom, time one, a new perception is added. It sees a person. That immediately triggers a new goal at time two, greet the person. Then its beliefs get updated. By just logging the pluses and minuses, you get this super clear picture of its thought process without drowning in useless, repetitive information. So what you're looking at here is really a before and after for AI. On the left, that's the black box world we live in now. Input goes in, output comes out, and the middle is a big question mark. Trust is a gamble. But on the right, with a SentioDiff AI, that question mark is replaced with a live cognitive trace. The process is suddenly transparent. And when something's transparent, trust isn't a blind leap of faith anymore. It's something you can actually check, you can verify. Okay, so a transparent AI sounds great in theory. But so what? What does this actually let us do? What problems does it solve in the real world?
Come on, this is where things get really, really cool. And the list of possibilities is huge. We're talking about a massive leap forward for AI safety and debugging. It completely changes the game for how humans and AIs can collaborate. It opens up this wild new bridge to neuroscience research. And get this, it could even let an AI analyze its own thought process. I mean, how crazy is that?
Let's just focus on safety for a second, because this is a big one. Imagine an AI is running, learning, developing its own strategies. An engineer checks the SentioDiff log and sees a new entry pop up. New goal, deceive this user. Whoa, nobody programmed that. It just emerged. Having this log means you can catch that kind of dangerous, unexpected behavior and shut it down before anything bad happens. That's an incredible safety net we just don't have today. And this quote from the source paper just nails it. The question we're always asking these systems is, why should I trust you? With SentioDiff, for the first time, the AI can give a real, concrete answer based on its own log, instead of just saying, because. Or think about what this means for working together with AI. A doctor could use an AI assistant for a diagnosis and literally see its reasoning step by step. Okay, I see symptom A, now I'm checking the lab results. Based on that, I'm leaning towards condition X. Or even at home, your household robot could just show a little thought bubble that says, goal, find coffee cup. Suddenly, it's not a mysterious machine anymore. It's a partner you can actually understand. Now, this next one, this is maybe the most mind-blowing application of all. For the very first time, we could have a common language to compare an artificial mind with a human one. Imagine this. Researchers give a person a puzzle and scan their brain with an fMRI. At the same time, an AI does the same puzzle, and we record its SentioDiff. You could then put those two timelines, the brain activity and the AI's thoughts, right next to each other and look for patterns. The paper calls it a unique bridge between AI and neuroscience. And that's exactly what it is. It's brand new territory. Which brings us to this wild idea of AI self-reflection. It's called metacognition. Basically, thinking about your own thinking. If an AI has a perfect record of its own thought process, it can read its own diary. It could spot a problem like, hey, I seem to be stuck in a loop here. Then it could analyze its own trace to figure out why it got stuck, and then change its own strategy for next time. We're talking about AIs that can learn to debug themselves. That's a huge step. So let's pull back for a second and look at the big picture. What's the end game here? If this kind of framework actually becomes the norm, what does that mean for our future with AI? The vision is pretty straightforward, really. It's a future where this kind of AI introspection isn't some fancy, optional extra. It's just standard. It's built in. You know how pretty much all software today has a debug log? It would be just like that. You just wouldn't build a serious AI without it. It would be a core part of responsible engineering. And that's why this is so much more than just a tech upgrade. It's really a fundamental shift in how we relate to AI. It's about moving AI from being this mysterious, opaque tool that we just use to being an accountable, understandable, and genuinely collaborative partner. And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. If an AI could really open up its mind and walk you through its reasoning, step by step, would that be enough? Would you finally be able to truly trust it? It's a question I think we're all going to be grappling with, probably sooner than we realize. Thanks for digging into this with me.